This program is brought to you in part by the Pennsylvania Downtown Center.
Turn to activity.
Leisurely strolls down Mill Street and in our National Historic District will enlighten you to the wonderful variety of architecture, shops, restaurants, and services.
Turn to the outdoors.
Adventures on our nearby river and trails will widen your horizons of Pennsylvania's natural beauty.
Turn to innovation.
The Renaissance of Danville is ongoing and aimed toward your lifestyle and desires. A turn for the better. Turn to the future in downtown Danville.
History, tradition, vibrant downtowns. Main Street is coming back to play a vital role as the center of many communities across the state. PCN, in partnership with the Pennsylvania Downtown Center, brings you Discover Main Street, PA. Each month, tour 2 communities and learn what makes these towns a great place to live, work, and play. So come discover Main Street, PA.
Hello, I'm Jim Wilson, the Executive Director of the Danville Business Alliance and the Main Street Manager in Danville, Pennsylvania. For the next half hour, I want to take you on a tour of our downtown, showing you some of our businesses and other points of interest, and giving you an idea of exactly why we think Danville is the best small town in Pennsylvania. Over the years, Danville has developed a very eclectic downtown. And how we're going to start today is with a tour of representative businesses and restaurants. Our first stop, Stoneware Pottery. We're at Stoneware Pottery with Todd Jeffrey, the owner and chief potter. And Todd, can you tell us a little bit about how you became a potter and how that evolved into your business?
Yeah, I was interested in high school. They had a good high school art teacher, Charlie Berkey, who a lot of kids got their interest from him. And it started there. I went to Penn State back in the mid-'70s. And ended up majoring in art, in ceramics, and I got in there. They had a really good ceramics department, and I never got out of there. I just kind of took off from there, and eventually, after kind of traveling around a little bit, I ended up opening here in 1984. I have a large gallery out front where usually there's anywhere from 400 to 500 pieces in there at a time. And I also go to shows mainly in Pennsylvania, maybe 6, 7 a year, and it's been really good. Danville's been very supportive with the hospital and numerous other things around here. It's pretty much busy year-round.
Well, the interesting thing I find about your pottery is the signature quality of it. You can always tell when your pottery is on display that it's yours, it's unique. Is this something that you deliberately developed, or is it just a?
I like to hear that, to say that. It's good to hear that it's unique. It's something that kind of evolves. I mean, when I started, I was always looking at pictures and kind of copying other people's stuff, but a lot of people do that. But over the years, you just kind of develop your own style. And I'd say after about 10 years, I pretty much had my own style, and it's just gone from there. I have a lot of people tell me they know my pieces when they see them, so that's a really good thing. I'm probably still making 40, 50 pieces a week. That's like a couple thousand pieces a year. So yeah, it's. I still enjoy it too. I haven't been bored for 20 years. I mean, there's always something I'm looking to do, and so I hope to keep going for another 30 years or so.
We're now in Biter's department store, and I'm standing next to Tom Biter Jr., who's one of the co-owners. Biter's is one of the most unique stores in the region. It's been here for a very long time. Tom, how long has Biter's been in business?
36 years.
And what kind of a store is it? How would you describe it?
Well, we describe ourselves as the uniquest store in central Pennsylvania, but we're an everything store. We have a full line of variety merchandise, sort of an old-fashioned 5 and dime, but we also have a number of key departments that draw from a much broader basin. Our crafts, our fabrics, our custom framing. We have a huge toy department. We do a lot of country home decor, and those departments bring from a much broader basin than just here in Danville.
And how has the business evolved, or has it evolved over the 30-something years that you've been here?
Oh, it's changed tremendously and continues to change every year. Back then we probably had mostly clothing. Today we have hardly any clothing at all. Those key departments just keep growing, and they also change. The country aspect is fairly new in the last few years.
And have you seen changes or cycles sort of up and down over time in relation to how the downtown is doing?
Our business, I would say, is very constant. As one thing fades out, we replace it with something else. Downtown is a very solid downtown area here in Danville. Certainly the mix of merchants and businesses in town has changed over the years.
Absolutely. Tell us about some of your most unique items in the store.
Probably the most unique items we have are in our country home decor department. I have a lot of furniture and home furnishings that are handcrafted here in Pennsylvania. Many of them are done by the Amish in Lancaster County or out in western Pennsylvania. Some of the things we actually handcraft here in the store ourselves.
Do you think that things are on the upswing in terms of downtown?
I would say so. I mean, you see a lot of activity here on the street, a lot of renovation, new buildings, new businesses all the time, so yes.
We're now at BJ's Steak and Rib House, and this is the longest serving restaurant on Mill Street in downtown Danville. It's been here for quite a few years. And with me this afternoon are Robin Swank, the manager of BJ's, and Josh Jensen, the kitchen manager. Robin, as I said, you've been here a very long time. How long has it been at this location?
At this location since 1987.
And this is one of two, right?
Correct.
And the other one is in Selinsgrove?
Selinsgrove.
Right. And so when was the original BJ's established?
In 1982.
So over 30 years ago.
Yeah, long time.
If you know, why was this BJ's established here in Danville?
The owner, the first location, the owner, they wanted to put a hotel into the area that he wasn't interested in that. So this building came up, and he moved the location to here then, because he wanted to be in the heart of downtown.
And obviously you've been very successful if you've been in the restaurant business for as long as you have. What do you think has been the secret of BJ's success both here and in Selinsgrove?
I think our success has been due to great food, great service. We're always trying to do new innovations to the restaurant that are new to the area to keep things interesting.
And can you tell us a little bit about the food you serve and the menu that you have?
We have. Go ahead.
We actually just started our new steak menu, which features dry-aged steaks, which we do in-house, and we also are featuring our oyster bar, which has been running for about a year now. We get fresh oysters in every other day from Massachusetts, Prince Edward Island, various other locations up by Canada, and our dry aging steaks we do all in-house. It's a new process that we actually just started. The steaks are dry aged for 28 days, and during that process there's like a crust that's formed on the steak, and that helps the steak taste more tender and give it a more nutty flavor, and allows for a higher quality steak for the area.
And being in a downtown location, do you think that serves the restaurant well to be located in an area like this?
Absolutely. People that travel through the area love to like the atmosphere of coming into a small town, into a historical building to have dinner, and then they get to walk around town into the nice little shops and stuff.
And have you noticed changes in the downtown that have had an impact, a positive impact on your business?
Oh yeah, a lot of the buildings being remodeled, looking nicer. The DBA has actually helped us out getting grants to help us redo the front of our building, make the back look nicer. It helps the people. We have our loyal customers that come in and really help our restaurant, and they keep coming back for food.
So give me your elevator speech. Why would people want to come to Danville, and in particular to BJ's?
Well, firstly, because we're the best steakhouse in town. We only offer the highest quality of ingredients. We really go for help our customers out. The customer's always right in our opinion, so we always go the extra yard for the customer. We have a great menu, which we just started off last week, and it's taken off really well.
We're here at the Old Forge Brewing Company, and I'm standing next to Damian Malfero, who's co-owner and head brewer, and this is one of the iconic businesses in downtown Danville. Damien, I know that this is not something that you started out doing in your life, but what led you into a career as a brewmaster, and why did you choose Danville to start your business?
Well, I got into it because I love beer, and living in the area, we had to commute a little bit further to find good craft beer and brew pubs. We had to go to either Williamsport or Selinsgrove. And I thought Danville was the perfect location. It didn't have a brew pub. It didn't have this type of restaurant and brewery experience. And I thought if we brought that to Danville, people would respond. And they've welcomed us with open arms. And it's been going well ever since.
What do you think's made you successful?
A lot of hard work and a lot of luck. I don't know. I think we had a vision to do what we're doing. You know, handcraft it, making things by hand, the quality, the attention to detail that sometimes is missing. I know I had frustrations going out to different places and not being able to get that sort of uniqueness. You don't really like, at least I personally don't like, going to a place and only seeing the same type of beer, whether it's Bud or Miller or Coors. They're all the same type of beer. And going to a place and the only food they make is like a frozen prepackaged something. And so we set out to do it here where we're going to get away from that. For better or for worse, whatever your tastes are, we make it all here, we do it all here. And I think, for the past 4 years, it's been for the better.
And it seems that it's worked, because what I've noticed when I've come in here is that there are not a lot of local faces. There certainly are quite a few, but you seem to draw from a much wider audience and region than just simply the immediate Danville area.
We do, but we still do have a really good core local following from people here. But I think from the way I define it, I don't just define local as Danville. So I look at it as the whole region, like you said. So when I say local, that still encompasses, Lewisburg, Sunbury, Bloomsburg, even out further. And I still consider that part of our local reach.
One thing that struck me as well from the very beginning is the relationship that you have with local artists and crafters, and that's on display throughout the restaurant.
Yeah, and that's been, I guess, part of the luck that I had said. When we first were doing work here, we just happened to talk to the right people. Mark Irwin, who is a wood sculptor, he rents space right next door. So we got involved with him, and he made some tap handles for us. And then he knew Keith, who's the metal worker and woodworker who does all of our booths and bar and everything. And then he knows people, and then other people know, and then it just spreads. And they've really, all the artists and craftspeople and whoever have really embraced what we're doing, and they come in and they're the ones with the ideas, and they're the ones who want to help and want to be a part of this, and it just makes everything that much better.
And in a few months, you're going to be expanding and moving, which indicates more success and more opportunity.
Yeah, that'll it'll allow us to do things a little better. It'll allow us to provide a better experience for our customers. We are limited here with our space, and we're looking forward to it, and it'll be a big step for us.
Do you think that's a testament to the economic health of the downtown?
I feel like it's been continual. Since we opened, I think the downtown is changing for the better, and I think it's going to continue to change. I think you're going to start seeing more places open up, hopefully more restaurants, which I think it is happening now as we speak, and more retail establishments. And the whole project that the DBA's been working on with the upper floor revitalization studies, I mean, it's on its way.
Immediately behind me and across the street is the Prudential Hodrig building, which is one of the best examples of a facade renovation project that we've done in the last 4 years. But beyond that, it represents much more. The Danville Business Alliance has initiated an upper floor feasibility study, and as a result of that, we believe that the best potential for revitalization of downtown Danville rests with upper floor development. Prudential Hodrick Building is also a very good example of that, the owner of which took the initiative even before our study was complete to do exactly what the study recommended. And in addition to remodeling and renovating the ground floor, he has also restored 4 of the apartments upstairs. And this, we hope, will be the model, and we believe it will be the model, for greater upper floor redevelopment in the downtown. Danville has a very rich heritage. Its modern history began with William Montgomery and the home he built more than 2 centuries ago. Fortunately, the home still stands and is owned currently by the Montour County Historical Society. 2 of its curators, Sue Tinsley and Diane Zamboni, will be talking with us in a few moments about William Montgomery, the home, and the early history of Danville.
Good morning. My name is Sue Tinsley, and I'm one of the curators of this museum. I'm also the vice president of the Montour County Historical Society, which manages this particular house, which is called the Montgomery House Museum. Now, the house in itself is worth seeing. It's 220 years old. And basically, the Montgomery family who owned the house, the Montgomerys and their descendants lived in this house from when it was built in 1792 until 1940. And it was at 1940 that it first became a museum. Now, when I talk about the Montgomery House Museum, it's because of the fact that William Montgomery was and is the founder of Danville, Pennsylvania. Now, Mr. Montgomery was quite the guy. He was really a Renaissance man. He was a member and a fighter in the Revolutionary War. In fact, he had his own regiment. It was called Montgomery's Flying Camp. He was a confidant and a friend of Benjamin Franklin's. And here in the cabinet, we have quite a few things that relate to Mr. Montgomery. Here in the back part, we have a letter of Benjamin Franklin written in his hand and signed by him. It's been authenticated. And also, we have over here, when Mr. Montgomery, who was the first U.S. congressman from this area after we became a country, we have an invitation here for him to have dinner with the then president, which was George Washington. We have one of his epaulets here from when he was in the Revolutionary War. And Mr. Montgomery he had the first grist mill, the first woolen mill. He did everything here. Franklin was also the guy who realized that we had a lot of iron ore in the hills here in Danville. And this leads us to the iron industry, which was a big part of the economy here in Danville for a good number of years. Now here, we have a case that refers to the iron industry that was once here in Danville. We had all the hills surrounding Danville was loaded with iron ore, and the Montour Iron Company basically, they were mining the iron ore in the hills and they were rolling it. And in fact, in about 1850, we were probably rolling more iron than any other company in the United States. Now, we also rolled the first T-rail here. And that really revolutionized the railroad industry. So we're very proud of that. So basically, the Montour Iron Company, most of the things that they rolled were railroad ties. And in fact, we have a listing over there of the different companies that they were selling to. And both of the companies that did the Transcontinental Railway, we were selling to both of them. So we're always kidding everybody that we helped open up the West. But although there's no vestiges left of the iron industry, it was something that really contributed to the economy of Danville for a good number of years.
My name is Diane Zamboni, and I'm one of the curators of the Montgomery House here in Danville. My co-curator, Sue Tinsley, talked about the iron industry, and we are here in the museum. In this section, we have the military collection. This area right here is primarily Civil War, and we are quite fortunate in this small town to have a large Civil War collection. To my right, there's a case which has a storyboard talking about the 132nd Company A. Now, this company was recruited in Danville. There were approximately 99 recruits who entered. They were all employed by the Montour Iron Company. They entered in August of 1862, and by December, there were approximately 9 killed. So they were decimated in the first several months of their career in the Civil War. We have a collection which includes a little book which describes the donations which were collected by the townspeople for one of the recruits who was killed during the war. His name was Daniel Van Ronk. He had a wife and 3 small children. Fortunately for us, the little book remains intact, and it's part of our collection here at the Montgomery House. To my right, in the bottom of this case, is a large Bible which belonged to a man whose name was Colonel Charles Ekman. He was the head of the 93rd Regiment, Company H, which is Danville's most prolific regiments. They were in many of the Civil War battles. In the next room, we have an account of the company and the battles and maps that they were involved in during the Civil War. We also have specific pictures of different veterans. We've tried to include information when we have pictures of the veterans so that the people will know that all of these people came from this very small area. I'm speaking from the military room at the Montgomery House in Danville, Pennsylvania. We're focusing on the Civil War since this happens to be the sesquicentennial of the Civil War. Although we have other wars involved and we have artifacts from other wars, we will only talk about the Civil War. To my right, I have an original muster roll of the Civil War, and this is the first company which left Danville in 1861. I think this is a relatively rare artifact, and we're very proud to have it. In the rear of this room, we have a painting of Maxwell Goodrich. He's the man whom the GAR was named for. He was killed at the Wilderness. It's a beautiful painting. We're quite proud of it. We also have, along with the Civil War artifacts, guns from not only the Civil War and earlier, but also many guns right up until World War II. Behind me, to my left, we have a case which includes articles which belong to a man named Randall Jacobs. Now, Mr. Randall Jacobs was a vice admiral. He is the highest ranking military officer who was born and raised in Danville, Pennsylvania. He went to Annapolis, and after Annapolis entered the Navy and stayed there for 40+ years. He was one of the people responsible for forming the waves during World War II. We have an extensive collection of his documents and other artifacts. The Montgomery House will open at the beginning of May, the first Sunday. We are open every Sunday from 2 to 4, and we welcome all of you to come to visit our museum. Thank you.
I want to thank you for joining us for the last half hour in what we in Danville consider to be the best small town in Pennsylvania. And I have to put in a plug for my own organization, the Danville Business Alliance, because much of what you've seen this afternoon is due in no small measure to the efforts of the Business Alliance through a number of programs that we are running as a Main Street organization. Among them, the Facade Grant Project, which has enhanced a number of the buildings in the downtown business district. The Streetscape Project, which we received funding for, which will markedly improve the aesthetics of the downtown when it is constructed this summer. The Riverfront Trail Project, which we are collaborating with the Montour Area Recreation Commission to bring online later this year as well, which will inaugurate an inland trail network that will involve not only Danville Borough, but some of the surrounding townships. Our mural project a view of which you saw at the very beginning of the program, which is going to be duplicated later this year with another project that we feel will inaugurate a series of murals throughout Danville. These are just some of the highlights of the activities in downtown Danville and the accomplishments of the Danville Business Alliance. You can find out more information about us as a community and the Danville Business Alliance as an organization by visiting our website at visitdanvillepa.org. We think once you do, you'll have an increased interest in visiting Danville, and we certainly hope you come here. And if you do, we feel very confident you will not be disappointed in what you find in the best small town in Pennsylvania.
Welcome to Manheim, Lancaster County. My name is Len Bodner. I'm a board member with the Manheim Downtown Development Group. The Downtown Development Group actually has been around since 2001 and became a Main Street community in 2007. Our main goal is to make sure that our economic development within our community exists. And we're here today on the Market Square in the center of Manheim. And it's a beautiful day to look around and see the beautiful architecture that we have here. Our town is centrally located between Lancaster, Lebanon, and Harrisburg. I'm here with Mindy Fee, our state representative on the square. Mindy, tell us why Manheim is so special to you.
You know, I love this community. I was blessed to be brought up in Manheim, and I chose to raise my children here. It's a kind of tight-knit community where we come together in times of needs, and that's been tested over and over throughout the years. And we also rejoice when times are good. With the Manheim Downtown Development Group and the Manheim Chamber, you know, they've been working to reinvest in Manheim, which is great. Every time a new business comes to town that they entice to come to town, you know, we celebrate, we have a ribbon cutting, we encourage our local homeowners and local people to shop locally and frequent the businesses. It's a wonderful thing. And we're fortunate enough to have a beautiful square here in town, very Norman Rockwell like I call it. And with the 250th anniversary, I know we're rejuvenating that, and people are working on the facade of their homes and their businesses and taking great pride in things in Manheim. So I'm excited to be part of it.
That's great. Thanks for sharing.
You bet.
I'm here with John Blank from the Zion Evangelical Lutheran Church, and we wanted to talk about the rich history this church has and the significance with our founding father, Henry Stiegel. John, what can you share with us today about this rich history?
Well, Henry Stiegel was a very active churchman, and when he came to this area and founded Manheim, he held Lutheran worship services in his own house where he had a chapel set up. And later he and his wife gave land, the land that the church and the cemetery are located on, for a church to be built. So we have a very close connection with Henry Stiegel as a result.
Real good. We noticed that on the sign there's a red rose. What's the significance of this red rose?
Okay, when he and his wife gave the land to the town, the deed said for 5 shillings and 1 red rose forever, if lawfully demanded, in the month of June. So since the late 1800s, when a local doctor found the deed, it had been lost over the years, he suggested to the congregation that there be a festival, a rose festival set up, and that people, or that the descendant of Stiegel be paid this rose. And that was established in 1892, and it has gone on since that time. So that is where the red rose came from. It was stipulated in the deed, in the land deed from Henry Stiegel.
I'm here with Pastor Jim Roth of the church, and thank you for having us in today and hearing about the history of the church. and this legacy of Henry Stiegel and the Red Rose, very interesting. How does the church keep this legacy alive?
Well, as John mentioned, we do continue with the Red Rose Festival, sharing that with people so we remember that heritage. But we think that we keep Stiegel's legacy alive in terms of the care of people, in terms of worship here, but also in the generosity of Stiegel to give the land, with the things that we give back to within the community, like our summer lunch and the free Thanksgiving dinner, this community gathering space for groups like AA and Scouts and so forth, so that part is how we keep Stiegel's generosity legacy alive within our community.
That's very interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, very good.
We're at Rules Insurance here on Market Square, and I want to introduce Aaron Schwartz with Rule Insurance. Thanks for inviting us in today and showing us around your building. It's very beautiful. Can you tell us something about the building and a little bit about your insurance group?
Sure. First, a little bit about the building. George H. Danner owned this building. At one point, it was the oldest standing mercantile building in Manheim since about 1912. George Danner purchased this building, renovated it. The structure that is here now, half of that was built in 1881, brick structure, and then he added the second half, which we're standing in right now, in 1891. Rule Insurance, Don and Janice Rule purchased the building in, I believe it was 1981, did all the renovations in here. It took about 2 years, and then moved Rule Insurance into this building in 1983, and we've been here ever since.
How about that? And originally from Main Street here in Manheim,
that's
correct?
Right.
Original
that's
location.
Right. Yep. 18 South Main is where Rule Insurance started, and then moved in here. Yep.
How about that? What a beautiful building. Thank you for inviting us in today.
Absolutely.
I'm with Janice Rule, and I want to thank you for inviting us in today. And you've shown us some very interesting things here at Rules Insurance. And could you tell us a little bit about the safe and anything else that you think would be of interest to the community?
Well, thank you, Len. We are happy to have acquired this safe. It's a George H. Danner safe, as you can see by the lettering on the top. Very beautiful. The doors are, the paintings on here, of course, would all be original, and they just are fantastic. So I can't imagine how they moved this safe around, because it took us quite a time. We had to lay pieces of cardboard. We brought it in from the back, had to lay pieces of cardboard or plywood down, roll the safe onto it, and then move it forward that way through the whole 200 and some feet of space. So we're very happy. We did spread the weight of the safe by the piece of steel on the bottom here. And the beams that support it underneath are 4x18s. This building was really built to last for centuries, and we're so happy. We saw that prospect when we moved here. We had bought land outside of, I don't know if you knew that or not, Len, we had bought land out Doron Road, and then decided, no, that's not the right thing to do. We need to keep downtown going. Another thing we have here in the lobby is a post, which would have been a hitching post. Maybe you can help me with this, Len. So people coming into the store would come in by horse and buggy, and they would tie up their horse at this hitching post and proceed to get whatever they needed for the week or their daily needs. We have some other pieces. I have a Danner yarn winder inside, which is quite an interesting piece. We also have some pieces of the boxes that came from the railway station, as Mr. Danner ordered a lot of goods from Philadelphia. They're just pieces of the railway boxes, which they would have brought up, I think down at the station they have that cart, which would have been a horse-drawn cart, and then they would deliver the things coming in by railway to various businesses.
This is a very interesting clock. What can you tell us about it?
This is a Manheim-made clock, Christian Eby, and back in the 1980 or so, Hamilton Watch reproduced a clock, and the Christian Eby name is on it. Don and I had that in our home.
but this one is a 30-hour clock, so we don't keep it running. It would take, you know, winding every day to do that, as opposed to an 8-day clock. We are very pleased to have this piece also as Manheim memorabilia. We acquired whatever we could and brought it into the building, and for
beautiful.
people to enjoy pieces of Manheim history.
I'm here with Jesme from Split Ends, one of our businesses that started in 2009 here in the downtown district of Manheim, and you folks have been expanding, which is exciting. We think that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your business and how you keep up with the trends and education about your business. How does that all go about?
Well, we do take lots of classes. We studied at the Matrix Academy in New York City, so we love bringing those new techniques to clients. So we can give you that big city style for a small town price.
Awesome, that's great. Anything else that we should know about your business?
Well, we're just really happy to be in the downtown area. It's such a great place. We grew up here, and it's awesome. There's a lot of new exciting things that are happening. Coming up, we have the Glow Run, which is pretty phenomenal. So that'll be exciting.
You bet. Well, thanks. Appreciate your inviting us in today. I'm standing in front of Joe Boy's Brew Pub, which this is a historic building known as the Sumi House, dates back to the late 1800s. Joe Boy's is a real destination for us here in Manheim in that they have authentic Southern barbecue, North Carolina style, as well as crafted beer. What's really unique is they do 13-gallon batches at a time, so they have several beers on tap. And folks come here from regional places and out of state as well. I'm here at the Brick House Cafe located on Main Street in Manheim. This is a historic building. It was once the Creedy store, which had general merchandise for people in this town. It has now been converted into a lovely restaurant. They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They also have outside seating at a courtyard in the back of the building, which has a lovely waterfalls. Manheim is full of other great businesses, such as Crickett's School of Dance. We have the Bridal Boutique, which has been around since 1972. Located on the Market Square is Fulton Bank, which was originally Keystone National Bank. Fulton Bank is celebrating their 50th year in business, and the lovely architecture of that building really sets well on our square. Another established business here in Manheim is Graybill's Tool and Die, located on High Street. This building was originally constructed in the early 1900s and was originally a cigar factory. Some years later, it was then used as a shirt and pajama factory for gentlemen's clothes. They've been around in business since 1956. They bought the building in 1975, and they've been there ever since. It's a complete tool and die manufacturing company. They also build equipment for folks that actually do machinist work as well. Most notably, one of their projects would be for NASA, so items created here in Manheim are actually out in space. I'm here with Melissa Matos from the Cat's Meow, a thriving restaurant business here in Manheim. Thank you for having us here today. And
Thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
I wanted to ask a few questions about your business. Let's start with how long you've been in business.
Been in business for 27 years. We are independent owned, and all the managers and owners are all hands-on. We think that we're different from other restaurants. We are in a historic building. We are Roaring Twenties themed. A lot of the people that have worked here have been here for at least 5 years or more, and we do have 4 people who've been here from the beginning, and that I think has helped us maintain consistency over the years.
Real good. So it's a real special business here in Manheim. And what keeps people coming back to your restaurant?
Well, our mission has always been to have good food and good service at a reasonable price. We've tried to keep up with the changing economy with that. But also I think the fact that we have a lot of good support from the Manheim and local communities.
Really good. Now you have both inside and outside dining.
We do. We have a full menu and bar, and we have private dining, we have outdoor dining, and we also cater.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for inviting us in today. This is a great place.
Thank you so much for coming. Oh, I appreciate that.
I'm here at the Manheim train station. This building was originally constructed in 1881. It served freight and passenger lines. The passenger lines actually ended in 1950 and freight in 1975. The tracks here are still active, but the trains simply pass through. This beautiful building is now a museum and serves as that as well as a community meeting place. This is a great example where the community benefits from such a restoration as this one here, where we have economic revitalization and historic preservation, and what a partnership it has been here in Manheim with the Historic Society.
Is that ever in the glass house? Because now it's always been outside, so I don't know if it's in the sign that's here.
I'm here at the Stiegel Glassworks factory in Manheim, located at the same property as the train station. Along with me is Skip Hetrick. Skip is involved with the group and has been for some years. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved with the Stiegel Glassworks and maybe when you got involved with it?
All right. Well, Stiegel, Henry William Stiegel was the founder of Manheim, and he was a glass blower and had quite a large factory, like 140 employees in the 1760s. So in 1962, when we were 200 years old, we brought some glass blowers into town and from out of the area, and they blew glass for a little while. And then by 1976, a group of us in town thought we ought to have our own little crew, so we started blowing in 1976, hence the name Stiegel Glassworks 1976. And we blew for about 8 years, and then we stopped for a while, and now we've started up again, and we're blowing more glass than we ever have before. Since 1976.
That's great. It's my understanding that the building actually had an addition put on it and some additional equipment. Tell us a little bit about that.
We started out with a furnace holding 150 pounds of crystal, and we used it as a glory hole as well. It was our first piece of equipment that we built, and that worked for a little while. Then as we wanted to make more product, we decided to build a glory hole, which is like a furnace, except there's no glass in it. It just is a hot tube which you put a piece of glass in to reheat it and help you in the forming process of the product. And when we built that glory hole, we realized that we needed more space in the building, so we added on to the building and made about twice the size of what it was. It's still small, but we're surviving with it. We have our glass product in that building as well as the equipment to make the glass.
Real good. So glass blowing is a real creative style of art. In terms of folks in the community, how do you find artists? How do folks get involved with this? And what ages are they?
We have two young glass blowers, Jeremy Friedley and Ben Algram, and they're from the area, and they have their own studio in Columbia, but they help us out. We're a nonprofit, and they want to see us survive, and so they're helping us out. And we have a couple of other glass blowers that come in and fill in when Jeremy and Ben are busy. And so it's nice to have all these artists around that are willing to come in and help, and it's working out well for us.
Good deal. It seems to be a great destination for Manheim, and I understand folks come from all sorts of areas to come see the glass being blown.
They do. Manheim has been very supportive. They bought a lot of glass, and now we have to reach out to a broader community and try to sell our product, and we're working on that part of it.
Is there anything else you can share with us about the glass house?
Yes, we sort of got started a couple of years ago after we stopped blowing in like 1984. A few years back, we started again, and the Downtown Development Group was very involved with us as we started. You were with the Downtown Development Group, and now you're on our board, and it's a good group. And one of the things that we're trying to do now to stimulate interest is have people come in and blow a piece of glass, and we will help them blow a piece of glass, which after annealing, they can come back the next day and they can pick up their piece of glass and take it home and put it on their coffee table or on the shelf to tell people that come to visit, there's my piece of glass, I blew it at Stiegel Glass Works.
So it's a great way for other folks to get involved.
It is, yeah.
and try firsthand this art.
Right. It looks very simple when the glass blowers are doing it. It looks, boy, I could do that. And then you go in and you try, and it's a little more difficult than it appears.
Clean it up one more time, and then I'll take the money. All right. So this is kind of the cool part. She's gonna make what we call a punteel, and then we'll attach to the bottom, detach it from the blowpipe, and we'll heat that, and then like open it up. So. About 2,300 degrees. Let's start opening these doors. It gets cooler, so it takes a little bit longer to heat up. Got it. All right, keep it fast. Roll back towards me. All right. Keep that heat. Got it?
I'm here at the Manheim Fire Department with Assistant Chief Dwayne Ober. Thanks for inviting us into the museum.
You're welcome.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the museum and how it got started and where the contents came from.
Okay. This museum was created in 1997. We had put an addition onto our fire station, not knowing what to do with this room. And shortly thereafter we put the addition on, we were contacted by Hershey Museum. And all the older equipment you see in the background was stored at Hershey Museum from 1940 until that time. They were looking to move out their product and focus on Hershey. So we were able to acquire the old hand pumpers and the hose carts, as well as some additional equipment in the display cases that we were to be brought back to our fire station that we can display it here in the public for everyone to see. Most of our members never even knew we had that equipment available to us, so it was great to bring it back. The remaining supplies and antiques and collectibles are all donated through the public or fire company archives, estate sales that people want to help us out and build up on our museum. So that's where everything has come from.
Really good. What a nice collection. Yes. Now I understand that the charter name of the fire company is different than the Manheim Fire Department. So
Right.
What is that?
The charter name of the fire company is Hope Fire Engine and Hose Company #1. You'll see on the front of our station the word Hope Fire Company. And that came about, the hose cart on the back here was bought from the Philadelphia Fire Company. And on the back of that hose cart is the name Hope. And rather than, at the time our fire company was named Star Fire Company. And rather than repaint it, the company chose to just change the name of the company. And through the years, there's been 8 different fire companies in the community, organized fire companies at different times. And Hope is the one that is stuck around and maintained. In 1874, they chartered again as Hope Fire Engine and Hose Company #1. So ever since,
we've had that name, even though we've been here since 1812, and one name or the other. So.
How about that? Didn't know that. Well, thank you very much for inviting us in, and we certainly appreciate everything you folks do in the community.
Well, thank you.
On behalf of the Manheim Downtown Development Group, thank you for taking this tour with us today. Our group is part of the Pennsylvania Downtown Center, and I wanted to mention that for the past 5 years we've been accredited on a national level as a Main Street program. We'd love to see you folks come and visit us someday, and we have a website. Please visit it. It's manheimdowntown.org. Thanks again.
This program is brought to you in part by the Pennsylvania Downtown Center.